It is the 27th of November and today I finished my second book for the month. Hi guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome to Upside Down Books. Today I am going to be doing a book review for you, and as you saw in the title, it is of Updraft by Fran Wilde. I'm so excited to talk about this one because I'm so angry. Let's just start with the premise of saying I rated this one a 1 out of 5 stars, which is the rating I give to books that I don't finish. So I didn't even give it the half-star extra for getting to the end. I didn't enjoy this, and I want to apologise because it was the November book club pick of the month for the Squabbling Dragons. So to anyone reading with us, if you have similar feelings about how this book went, I'm sorry. This book was not at all what I was expecting it to be. As always, this review will be spoiler-free, and I will be doing a spoiler review over on my blog if you want to read more details about it. But for now, we're just going to have a good old chat about how frustrated I am about how crap this book was. I don't even know where to start. So it's taken me a solid 10 days to get through this book. That's how long I've been reading this for 10 days. Doesn't sound that bad, but it is bad. I've been trying so hard to push myself through it and get to the end of this book. This book is 370 pages, just under, in the edition that I have, and I couldn't read it. I wasn't sitting down to read it, and it probably wasn't until maybe the last couple of days I've realised that I'm actually just flat out not enjoying it. I was like, maybe it'll be a 3-star, then I was like, maybe it'll be a 2-star, and then I got towards like the last 50 pages and I was like, man, this doesn't even deserve stars. This is one of my least enjoyed books ever, and I find it really strange because if you ever ask me the question, what's your least favourite book, it's always going to be The Lost Honour of Katharina Blum by Heinrich Böll. But no, okay, this one's not going to be as boring as that one, but it's so frustrating. But let me just start with explaining what this book is about if you have not read it. This book is a fantasy book set in a world that I don't know even the name of or where the world is, but they live in towers made of bone that grow, so yeah. And as Casey put it, the co-host for the Squabbling Dragons book club, they're like bone trees. They're living in bone trees, and they're above the clouds. So these towers that these people are living in, I don't know if they have a collective race name. I assume they are human. They appear to be more or less so. They live in different towers, so I don't really know how many there are of them, because I can't imagine how big the towers are, but I kind of got the impression that they weren't huge. But basically these towers grow upwards and are hollowish, so they live inside like little holes, like a little beehive. As the tower gets taller, the bottom levels start to fill out, which means you can't live in it anymore. And they throw waste over the edge so it goes down below the clouds, and occasionally they throw people down as well if the people have been bad. So these people have wings, and the story follows a girl called Kirit who is trying to earn her wings. So her mother is a trader. She trades between, I was given the impression that there were 4 towers and then they kept listing more, so I'm assuming there are like 4 main towers and little small towers around. I've no idea. I've got no idea. And her mother trades between these towers, and Kirit's like, oh, my mum's amazing, I want to trade like her. And she doesn't know her father. Her father's missing. He is AWOL, and so the book sort of half builds up towards what we assume is going to be a good ceremony where she earns her wings, and then what will happen next, because now she can fly, because that's how people get around. Because they live in towers that are for the most part not connected except for bridges, which seems to be a plot element added in right at the end of the book, people have to fly places. But not everyone can fly. I have really itchy ear. So yeah, they have to fly, but they don't have wings, they have strap-on wings. And honestly, I really failed to imagine how these appeared, because like wings that hold people up, they don't flap them, they just hold them in the updrafts, hence the name of the book. So there's lots of winds in between the towers so they can kind of glide across. But I kind of got the impression they'd have to be quite big wings but the size of the wings required to hold a human being up versus the size of the spaces they were living in versus everything they were doing whilst wearing those wings didn't add up at all. I was like, you need small wings that you can fold up nicely, but why are the wings, how do they fold up that well? Should they fold up that well? I don't think so. So yeah, the plot is that we're following Kirit. She's living in a bone tree. It has a name. I think it's Densira that she's living in. Who cares what the names are? And she has wings that she's trying to earn. And that's sort of all we're really given. The problems. Let's have a quick look at the problems I had. So my problem with the book was basically all of it, but it's very frustrating. I'm so frustrated that this was as bad as it was, because it sounds really promising. There's these characters called singers, which are sort of like the official people, and they sing to the bone trees, and the bone trees grow. So they sing to the towers, and that causes the towers to grow, and therefore people can live higher. And it's better to live higher than it is to live lower, because the bone is filling out and people's waist is like on your walls, so that's pretty damn gross. And these singers are silent and mysterious around the rest of the populace, and then they just kind of, they're really weird. They're really weird. But they keep appearing and we kind of get the impression that we're going to be more involved. So the singers are a pretty big part of the plot aspect, but between the fact that they live in the sky, they're flying, and there's people that sing and do stuff, it sounds so good and it just doesn't work. This book is 93% plot holes and 7% what? So let's just take this down to actual serious analysis of what's wrong with the book. The book doesn't follow a very good plotline. We have no strong beginning, middle and end of where the characters are going. I'd say there are maybe thirds or quadrants to the book as to the different sort of segments that we're in. And even within those, there's no sort of arc and there's nothing that's kind of getting resolved. I've now finished the book and I'm kind of sitting here like, I don't know what I achieved with that book. We want her to get her wings at the start, and then stuff happens that I can't say for spoilers, but it's sort of like, we're like, okay, no, maybe we're doing this then, that wasn't the thing. Oh, maybe we're doing this one. No, maybe it's this one then. And then you're at the end of the book and you went, so that's the big problem with the book, is it doesn't have a strong storyline. The secondary big problem is the fact that the characters are so two-dimensional. The character development is awful. Wilde has obviously put a lot of effort into creating the actual world itself, and while she spent a lot of time describing the names of the towers and where they live and the politics, like all the politics is kind of explained, but it's not very good. I have no idea where this is supposed to be set. You assume that if these are towers of... Where the hell are towers of bone growing from? And why are there only 4 of them? Are we on a tiny little pebble planet that's just... Are they just floating? And is it Earth? Is it the future? Is it a completely different world? I don't know. Because we live above the clouds, and in this book we never explore what is beneath the clouds. So if you're hoping to really get some good exploration into what the world is, you're not getting any. Telling you right now from page 1... What you find out in page 1 is pretty much all you're going to find out about the world. And that was super disappointing. I feel like there were so many good opportunities to take that somewhere, and we just don't. I don't know why Wilde didn't take that further, rather than waffle on for like 400 pages about nothing! And the characters, my god! So we've got Kirit and we've got her friend Nat. Nat is a sulky bastard. I didn't like him at all. He's like... flip-flopping like a pancake that can't decide if it's cooked or not, between being nice and friendly and maybe the romantic potential to being just a sooky apart from the fact that just everything. I don't like the characters. Kirit's mother, who is sort of introduced as though she's going to be this massive thing to the story and then doesn't really feature at all, and her name is Ezaret or something like that, I can't remember. And then there's Nat's mother Elna, who is more like a mother to Kirit, even though her own mother wasn't like away for her. Why is she more of, I don't know what's happening here. And then we have Wick, and Wick is the main singer that we're getting involved with. So at the whole thing at the very beginning of the book, before she tries to get her wings, is, yeah, okay, I missed out a huge thing here. There are these things called sky mouths, and they're sort of the predators, I guess, of this world, and they are invisible, gigantic, tentacular monsters that have big mouths and teeth and eat people, and they're invisible until they open their mouth, and then it's like, oh no, I'm dead, and you die. And they sort of float around. So the singers use basically echolocation, which is not what it's called, but that's pretty much, we spend like 100 pages explaining this theory, and I'm like, girl, this is echolocation, we know what echolocation is, let's just move on with our lives. And because they're doing that, they're clicking around trying to find stuff, they go, oh, there's an invisible monster, and then they scream at it or sing at it, and it runs away, or dies, or goes into captivity. It's one of the three. And at the very beginning of the book, one of them comes for Kirit because she's breaking the law by standing outside, and it came down at her and she went, ah! And it went away, and everyone went, she could be useful. Put her in the spire. So she's threatened to be taken away to the spire. So that was probably an important plot element I should have told you at the beginning. But the point is, there are a lot of random things going on. Like, we're not there's Nat's got a story that Kirit's kind of following, but Kirit's been threatened to take away to the spire, but she also needs to get her wings because her mother is like her idol, but her mother's not even there. And then there's Eleanor, and she's sort of like blind, but she's a mother figure. And then Wick's all mysterious, and we have no idea what side he's on. And then there are another 1,200 characters that are half introduced and half given backstories, and we don't need that many characters who are completely and utterly bloody useless. But back to Nat. Nat was a huge problem for this book. It was like he had some sort of personality disorder, but it was like more specifically a character disorder, and couldn't decide which character he was playing. The book should have had Kirit and Nat working together the whole time, or Kirit and Nat working together, they fall out once and maybe come back together, or they just fall out permanently. None of this swip swapping slishy slashy stuff where it's like, oh, we're friends, we're lovers, we're haters, we're gonna kill you, oh no, oh no. So that's two problems. The fact that it has a lack of plot structure and very two-dimensional characters made it quite hard to read because I didn't connect to any of the characters. I found none of them relatable, and it's almost, the writing's a little bit stilted. Like, it's just like, oh, there's a sentence, oh, there's a sentence. So it's just a little bit hard to follow. Because there's no plotline that's being properly followed, there's no like closure to the circle that is the story. We kind of just get to the end and I'm kind of like, what is this? Is this the climactic point we've been working towards? Because this is not good. And what happened to this character, this character, this character, and this character? I want to rate the book higher because the concept, and only the concept, is incredible. I don't know why this has been given nominated for so many awards. Was it nominated or has it actually been given? This was a winner of an award. I don't recommend it, and I didn't enjoy it. I need a plot, I need characters that are enjoyable, and I need better world development. Okay, so there's this thing, right, where it's, what is it? I think it's part of, like, the equation to how Pixar makes films. It's okay for your characters to get into trouble by coincidence, but they may not get out by coincidence. That has to be by their own doing, and I think that's a really good thing to do whilst writing. And I felt like because we had so many different plot lines all stumbling in front of each other, we had all these different conveniences that were thrown at Kirit that just, oh, and now she's okay. It's someone else fixing her mistakes or something else happening that gets her out of the sticky situation, and we never just go, hey, let's pick one big event to happen and see if she can save herself. The other thing that I actually found annoying is, I know you don't have to have romance in a book or a relationship at all, but I felt like this book kept sort of tripping over its feet and thinking it was going to go in that direction and then didn't. We have obviously Nat and Kirit who are friends, and you kind of expect, because of the way they are acting around each other, that it will develop into a relationship, and I actually feel like maybe Wilde had planned that, or even with Wick, because he ends up getting a bit closer to Kirit, but because the characters aren't developed enough, it can't happen. There's nothing for them to go on, they're just such deadpan characters. The other thing I didn't understand is, why is everyone singing? I think it would have worked better if the singers had magic and didn't just sing and fight. And why do we need bone towers? Why are they in the sky? These are the unanswered questions. Why are they in the sky? Why are they flying? Where's the rest of the world? How many of them are there? Is it a huge population? Is it a small population? Was the spire in the middle, or was it on the outside of the towers? Where was it? Why was it there? I don't understand. And I think my final note that I will end that on is that the pacing was bad. You gotta start small, you gotta build it up, and maybe you have a fall, and maybe it goes back up, and you end on this crescendo of words, but this one was more like a kid's roller coaster where you're kind of going around up and down and in circles and you get whiplash halfway through and then you get off and you wonder why you even thought that was a good idea to start with. So unfortunately, those are all my thoughts on that book. For now, I will be having a more spoilery review where I can get more into detail about specific spoiler parts that I didn't like about the book on my review over on my blog. But for now, unfortunately, it was a 1 out of 5 star read for me. I'm so disappointed that I didn't like this. I have faith that the next month's book for the book club, which was Stitching Snow, will be so much better. I have really high hopes for that one, so I hope to see you there. I hope to see you joining in. I just wish I could have more positive things to bring for you, but I don't think it's worth it. I don't think this is worth the read. So, sorry Fran Wilde, this wasn't my cup of tea. But that is all I have for you today, so I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!